Good morning and welcome to the orchard. It's a beautiful mid-July day in the 70s, and I'm here and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Espalier. This Espalier has been in the ground exactly 1 year this last week. This is a 30-foot Espalier from pole to pole. The poles were 8 foot long. They were put 2 feet in the ground with a cement mix, and it's 30 feet long. So from the pole to the first tree is 5 feet, and then we have 5 feet to the second, and 5 to the third, and 10 to the third, and 10 here. So it equals out that we have 3 trees going between. And what we have here is we have a sundowner apple, we have a weeping Santa Rosa, and we also have an Asian pear. Our goal here is to get these to grow on a wire. Our wires, we have a 3-wire system, and they are 24 inches apart from each other. And immediately when we got the Espalier, we started putting the branches down and training it. So what today's video is, I'm going to show you a little about some of the basics that you need to make sure that you're doing. If we take a look at this sundowner apple, there's a few things. We always want to make sure that we're eliminating any growth down below with our trimmers. And the reason for this is we want to make sure it's focusing all of the growth to the branches so that we're getting the maximum amount of growth for our outward branches. The second thing we want to do is we're going to look for growth like this coming off. We're going to take that off to make sure that we're not having excessive growth. Once we know that we have a branch that's growing well, any other branches that are coming out, such as this one right here, we want to eliminate because we want to focus, like I told you, on our growth going out. Now I use this Velcro tape to tie down the branches as I'm going. I don't use a wire or anything like that because as the branch starts to grow, it can girdle, which means the wire gets cut into the branch. And that's something that we really don't want because it's going to cause damage down the future, potentially have disease. So what I would do here is just come in, make sure we're holding this down like this, and we bring in our tape, bring it right across and lower it down like that. So we're continuing to focus this going out. So this is what we would do coming up. The only reason you would have other branches growing here is if you thought one of your outside branches was damaged or suspect that it might not grow, you want to have what's called a backup branch. But looking here, we have perfect growth in between. We come up here, we have a branch that has just started and another branch here that we're training going out. So this tree is doing really well. We have one other one right here that we're maintaining as a backup branch just in case. And this one right here could be a backup branch for that one, but it seems to be going well. So I'm going to cross the camera here. I'm going to come in and I'll show you this right here. I'm going to cut it close to the main branch and remove it. That way we're allowing the maximum amount of growth effort coming here. We're also going to allow the main part of the tree to continue to grow up to hit the 3rd line. And we're going to leave these other branches as it's going up to see which exactly will be the ones we choose to go here. Now, this weeping Santa Rosa has done an excellent job. Our primary goal is, if we look, we have 5 feet out, so it's taken 5 feet. When the apple gets here, it'll go out 5 feet. So now we have a lot of growth coming off of the lateral branches. We don't want that growth. We want to produce fruiting wood. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into these branches and we are going to, we get a lot of fans driving by that want to honk and things like that. We come out here and we look 3 up and we trim. 1, 2, 3, trim. 1, 2, 3, trim. And we're basically doing that throughout this whole thing. And the purpose of this is we are going to be forcing more fruiting wood to come in the branch. So we would come all the way back through, 3 and trim, 3 and trim, 3 and trim, 3 nods is what we're looking at. 1, 2, 3, trim. 1, 2, 3, trim, trim. And basically you can't do anything wrong, but we're really trying to focus on getting more growth that's going to create more fruiting wood. Let's come over here to the Asian pear, where we've seen this really has grown out a lot. You'll see that the bottom branches are all the way out. They've been tied down, and we have a lot of growth coming up. I basically left this growth to show you how drastic it can be. We're going to come in here and look, and you can see we've got 1, 2, 3. I'm going to come in here and cut this right here. 1, 2, 3, cut this right here. Same here, here. And what we're doing is we're just continuing to focus on creating more growth down below. Here we're at 3, 1, 2, 3. Now a lot of you would say, it looks so nice with all of that growth. It did look nice, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking to produce fruiting wood. And we're doing an espalier this way in order to get the maximum amount of fruit out of the most limited amount of space. And then we come in here to another branch and we hit it right here. We hit this one here, and back here. So it can be looking pretty violent, basically, with the amount that we're coming through and taking out. You know, you're just looking quickly for that 3 count and you're trimming it. The goal here, like I mentioned, is just to continue to get more growth down below. Right here, we're at the end. You can make a couple of choices here. You could let this grow here, tie it here, and let it come straight up. That creates an espalier that's called a candelabra, where it grows up on both sides. But what we're gonna do, for the sake of this, is we're gonna let it come to the end here, and we're gonna cut it, and that means the growth has stopped going out. So that branch is finished growing this way. We come up here and we look, we've got growth coming, which is really good. We also, if you look in here, you have a couple of more branches that are starting to sneak in on this, and we don't really want them. This is really doing well. We don't need a backup, so we're gonna get rid of these. Now you have to be really cautious when you're doing this, because know where you're cutting. If you make the wrong cut, you could eliminate a lateral branch that you've been counting on. Some people go through and they look at everything first and then they tag the branches they want to cut. That could be something really good for you to do in the beginning. And here, let's look at another one. We've got 1, 2, 3. A lot of these you can tell I've cut before, and it's just going to continue to focus the growth out here. So here, if you take a look, we have 2 branches coming up. Now we're going to determine which one of these we want to be the main branch. Once we get growth coming off for the lateral, we will come back in and get rid of the other one. If I was betting right now, I would say it would be this back branch, since it's the closest to the line. But this one looks extremely healthy, so we potentially could take this one. If I were to look at the pear tree right now, it's pretty well trimmed off. Now sometimes you're not going to get the exact perfect branch that you want. If you look here on this one, we had to take this branch right here to go across. Now I was leaving another little branch come up back here that is coming off the one for here, that I was thinking about we could possibly turn that down and then eliminate this, and that would grow out. So that is something we can continue to improve the overall look of the espalier as we move forward, and that just might be the key thing. Now some people would say, oh, don't do that, this already looks good, it adds character. You're right, it does, but this can become a game for you in your backyard. So that's it on the espalier. We come back over, you can see this has been tipped, and now it's trying to find a way to continue to grow out. So we're going to come back so it allows to keep the 5 feet of space for the pear tree. Coming in, cutting these at 3 back. Now this, look at here, you have to be careful and determine not accidentally cut, because you'll stop the growth. That's about our 5 feet mark. So what we do is we come back in and get our tape, and we will cut off a quick little piece. And then we'll come up here and we'll basically tape this to the branch. Now you always want to do this while the branches are new, because they're the most fresh and they're the most supple and able to do this. If we were to wait until winter, the wood becomes hard, and when you start to bend it, it could easily snap. I'm going to go around and you can take a look at this and just do a little trimming from the back on this weeping Santa Rosa. So continue to look. We have 3 here. We can look here and see where this is coming off. It's right here. We can take that whole branch off, take that whole branch right there, come here at 3, this one at 3. You know, it's always a good idea to walk around your tree and take a look at it so you know where you're trimming. And we're taking a whole bunch off, but this is going to continue to grow. We still have half of the summer left, and we continue to water, and we'll see growth all the way through. Our trimming right now is going to allow us to have a great looking tree. So I'm gonna come back in a moment. I'm gonna finish this tree out and show you what it looks like. So stay tuned. As you can tell, it looks drastic, the amount of stuff that we've taken off. And we've removed a lot of growth. And the reason for that is we are, like I've said over and over again, trying to force fruiting wood. Now the one area I left finally was this top part. And as you look, we're not interested in growth continuing up. We want the wire to be the end of it. So we're gonna follow the same principles here. We come in and we cut to 3. Because remember, a tree naturally wants to grow up. So we're just gonna come up here, continue to trim, and that way we continue the growth right on across. You know what? The whole point of this is to have fun. There's all different types. This is just a standard espalier. You can do candelabras, you can do crosses, but that's how we're doing this one with our 3 varieties, our Asian pear, our weeping Santa Rosa, which has done amazing considering this is a year-old tree, and then finally our sundowner apple right here. These are all doing good. We purposely tried to pick off all the fruit so that we focused our energy on growth. As you can tell, a couple apples snuck through, but that's okay. The whole point of this is to have fun. I'm gonna be coming to you later, and we're gonna be building another espalier from the ground up. We have our 2 poles that we set probably about a month ago. They're 8-foot poles, they're set 2 feet in the ground, and we're gonna be installing the wire and putting 3 more, and we're gonna do a monthly video on that espalier so you can see how it goes. But this is it from the orchard, 3 espaliers that have been trimmed down to 3 branches so that we encourage fruiting wood. I hope you try this in your yard. It's a great way in a small footprint to get 3 great fruit trees. Thanks.